Hi Cosorians, I'm Chef Mia. Today I'll be showing you how to make mom the best brunch yet. We'll be making a salmon quiche in the air fryer. Subscribe to become a part of the Cosori community and hit the bell icon so you never miss another episode. Great, so the first step that we're going to do is you're gonna wanna remove that store-bought 9-inch pie crust. Sometimes you might wanna put down a little bit flour in case it sticks, but it looks like I'm okay today. I just completely let it come to room temperature before you unroll it so nothing cracks and you have a perfect looking pie crust with no cracks or crevices. And then what we're going to do first is in the 8-inch cake pan, you're just gonna wanna take some flour baking spray. Any brand is fine. This is just so it's easier so you don't have to like spread the butter, then hand sift like the flour into the pan. So we're just gonna spray it. And this will help you get that really easy release later when you remove the entire quiche from the pan. And again, be gentle with your store-bought pie crust. We're just gonna lay it directly on top first. And a good rule of thumb is don't push down all at once, just gently get your hand in there so you're pushing down and the edges come down slowly, and that way you can kind of get it into position. You want the bottom of the pie crust to be completely flush against that against the cake pan. And we're just going to be making it a little bit rustic today, so it's going to be a little bit crimped on the edges, which will look really nice for presentation. Perfect. And once we get all that in there, I'm gonna just push it against the wall, just kind of let it stick to that floured baking spray, but don't worry, it'll be really easy to release once it comes out after baking. And then you're gonna be docking it into place with a fork, which just means to poke holes all across the bottom. That way the crust actually stays intact easier. And I always like to get the sides as well, just so it helps release any air or steam later while it's baking. And again, the docking will help the pie crust stay and retain its shape. Now, what's really important for making quiche is that you want to be able to blind bake your crust, so that way the crust doesn't get super soggy. You want a nice buttery, flaky crust. And to achieve that, we're going to be blind baking. Blind baking just means to bake the crust without the addition of the filling. So we're going to get some parchment paper, and you can use pie beads, rice, any dried beans. I'm using dried pinto beans today just because I had some in hand. We've been using in the kitchen for a while. Just gonna pour all of that in there to weigh down the parchment paper and the crust itself so that the walls don't collapse and become concave. We're just gonna get that in there. Perfect, so now everything is weighed down. I'm just gonna go ahead and grab the air fryer basket. And we are going to be using the dual blaze today, so there's top and bottom heating. You won't be needing the crisper plate. And we're gonna go directly into the basket. All this extra parchment paper is fine too, it's not going to burn. We're just gonna tuck it down to the side. You want to leave more parchment paper out, about a ½ inch to an inch, so it's easy to take out the parchment paper and dump all the beans out later. Perfect, so now we're gonna go into the air fryer. We're going to bake this at 400 degrees for about 10 minutes. So I'm just gonna highly recommend using oven mitts because then it will be really hot. I'm gonna go down like this and just carefully lift it. Get that out of the way. Be careful. And the good thing about having all this extra parchment is that we're going to be folding it up and then just getting rid of the beans altogether. Beautiful. And look at that, you have your pie crust. Let me show you, it's beautiful. And no one will be able to tell that it's a store-bought pie crust once you put the filling in. So while this is still super hot, we're going to leave it off to the side and let it cool completely. It's going to take about 10 to 15 minutes, and then we're going to move on and make that filling for the salmon quiche. Perfect, we're going to be making that filling now, and for those viewers out there looking for imperial measurements, please check the website. We will have everything linked for you down in the description. Okay, let's get started. We're gonna start off with 3 eggs. This is 3 large eggs at room temperature. We're just gonna be whisking it until it breaks. Now I'm adding in 1 cup of heavy cream. I also always like having a spatula on me so I can get all the yummy goodness in there so we don't waste anything. Great, now that we've got that all scraped in, I'm just gonna continue mixing until it's well combined with the eggs. So, and now we're going to add in 2 teaspoons of nutmeg, 2 teaspoons of kosher salt, 2 teaspoons of smoked paprika. If you can't find smoked paprika, normal paprika is totally fine. I just really like the smoked paprika because it really helps bring out that warmth and nuttiness along with the nutmeg in the entire dish. And then finally also 1 teaspoon of ground black pepper. And again, just mix all of this together. Technically, you could put everything in one bowl and mix it as well, but I like doing the seasonings first before you add in the larger pieces so that it's evenly distributed and everything is mixed in, so there's no clumps of paprika in one bite or a clump of nutmeg in the other or a big bite of black pepper because then it gets really spicy. Perfect, so this should be good. I'm gonna move that out of the way. Now I'm going to be adding in 1/2 cup of shredded Gruyere cheese and a 1/4 cup of grated Parmesan right into the bowl. I should have moved this earlier, but that's okay. That's why it's great to have a spatula so you don't dirty your hands. I'm moving on from the whisk to the spatula now so you can get an even mix of everything. Awesome. So you're going to want a 10-ounce piece of salmon. We're going to be cutting it into 1-inch pieces. So I just like to go all the way across, make sure I get even thickness so everyone gets the same equal bite of salmon. And now this is a really thick piece, so instead of leaving it into these rectangular chunks, I want them to be more bite-sized, so about 1 inch. If 1 inch is too big in your opinion, feel free to go lower, about 1/2 inch, maybe even 1/3 of an inch. We're just gonna cube these up really nicely so they sit well into the quiche. Yum, smells so good. I love nutmeg. It's just so like hearty, nutty, and warm. Reminds me of the holidays. And if mom is sleeping while you're prepping this for her, she'll definitely wake up to some delicious smelling aromas. And now back to the filling. I have 1 cup of baby spinach that I just rough chopped. We're going to add that in and gently fold it into the mixture. Just super quick, nothing hard about it. Nothing's gonna deflate. We're not making a meringue. And I'm gonna put in about 1/2 of the salmon. Beautiful. And by now your pie crust should have been completely cooled, so I'm just gonna grab that really quick. And we're just going to pour the filling directly into the pie crust. And again, scrape down all of that goodness because you don't want to miss out on any of that custard base you've made for your quiche. It's gonna be really yummy once all the cheeses melt into the mixture while you're baking. And okay, the reason why I left out some of the salmon is so I want to be able to make sure all the salmon pieces are distributed evenly. You don't want it to have only 1/2 of the quiche have salmon and the rest not have any salmon. So we're just gonna go ahead and go in and dot where some pieces are looking like a little bit too little or like an edge. It looks like it's not enough ingredients. And also it's great for presentation too, because then you can adjust what your quiche looks like before it's done baking, and it'll be really nice. I'm getting in there with my fingers because I just think that was too much spinach in one area. And perfect, got that ready to go. I'm gonna wash my hands really quick and then put it into the air fryer. Great, so again, the filling has just been in. We placed the salmon down. I'm just gonna grab the air fryer basket and you're gonna wanna set the air fryer at 345 degrees. We're gonna be baking it for 20 minutes. When there's 5 minutes left on the timer, I want you to manually pause the machine and cover it with foil so it doesn't get too brown on top. So right now the basket is cold, so don't worry about touching the sides. And we're just going to take it over and put it into the air fryer. There's 5 minutes left on the cooking time. I've gone ahead and paused it. We're just gonna bring the whole basket over and cover the inside pie tin with foil. Be careful, it is really hot. So, I'm gonna take a sheet of foil and place it down. And then with my handy dandy oven mitts, just gonna go into the corners here and get that foil placed around the quiche. Now, you're probably asking, why didn't you just pick it up? Well, the custard isn't fully set yet. It needs another 5 minutes for it to be set, so it's still kind of super jiggly in the center. So I was afraid that if you pick it up, it might unevenly distribute and like the wet filling will go underneath a cracked bit of crust or something, and then your bottom of the pie shell will get soggy, which will then allow the quiche to stick to the pan, and you don't want that. So that's why I did it this weird way. And now we're just gonna go back into the air fryer for the final 5 minutes. It smells so good, so cheesy, so yummy. Can't wait to remove that foil. Just remove it gently, carefully, be careful. It is still hot. Beautiful. Woo, nice. Now, I think this is a great color, but some of you may want to leave it in the air fryer for maybe 2 more minutes to go. It gets a little bit browner. Let me pick it up and show you so you see what I mean. But isn't that a beautiful quiche? Mom is gonna be so impressed, and she's gonna be so happy that you took the time to make her brunch, whether it's breakfast in bed or just a great spread for the whole family out on the kitchen table. It's gonna be fantastic. Okay, we're going to let this cool about 30 minutes in the fridge, and then I'm gonna show you how to take the entire thing out of the pan. So now that the quiche has completely cooled, we're just going to take a butter knife or a palette knife and just go gently across the entire border just to help the crust give an extra release. And you're gonna wanna move fast. And it should come out like that. Just gonna, oh no, crust down. But here we have it. Your beautiful, flaky, buttery salmon quiche for Mother's Day. We're gonna get everything cleaned up and set up and go right into tasting. And once again, it's my favorite part of the day, tasting. I'm so excited to try this. You can serve quiche room temperature or heat it up, and it's so good. I love, love, love egg custard, so here we go. Your mom is going to be in quiche heaven. It's so good. Sorry. The gruyere is super nutty in flavor, and the nutmeg really enhances that. And the Parmesan adds an extra layer of fat and smoky savoriness, but it's cut through because of the smoked paprika, so it gets a nice little kick. It's not too fatty, it's not gonna coat your tongue, and you hear that? Listen to how buttery and flaky your crust becomes. And it's just so good, because the best part of any quiche is a great crust. And you may have a little help from the grocery store, but at least you'll make a 100% beautiful quiche for mom. I just want to say thank you so much for watching, everyone. We hope you have a great Mother's Day. But before you leave, please let us know what your favorite way to celebrate mom is down in the comments below. And we'll see you next time. Bye.